My name is Chris Davidson. I'm a solution engineer here at Atlassian. And today I'm going to talk to you about the Atlassian Team Playbook and how the Atlassian Team Playbook is a part of what we think something that helps unleash the potential of every team across all aspects of teamwork. Now today, before we start, I thought I'd just get a sense from the audience if there is any particular areas that you'd like to see or understand about the Atlassian Team Playbook. I know that from my experience as doing delivery across many different industries, my background, originally Australian, came to the UK about 20 years ago, worked across mobile application technology, working a lot in mobile apps, delivering mobile apps in retail, in financial services, and obviously the adoption of Agile and Agile at scale and working across transformation, value stream transformation, and how we get teams at the heart of delivering great outcomes. Really great to be here with you today. And as I mentioned earlier, the concept of unleashing the potential of every team, and let's see if we can just make sure our screen is looking. Sorry, our screen is sharing. We'll have to leave that there for the moment. So, when we talk about unleashing the potential of every team, and we talk about the let me just move this menu. It's a little bit frustrating to have team members looking at the menu as we go. Hopefully that's a little bit better now. Okay, so when we talk about unleashing the potential of every team, it's a combination of factors. It starts with the great people. And those great people, we interact together. We have interactions, formal interactions, social interactions, all types of interactions. We have many practices that help us come together and focus what we are trying to achieve. Scrum practices, Agile practices, practices significant to our own organization. And of course, from Atlassian, very much a supporter of how software and technology and tools can help those come together, can help facilitate and support really great interactions. It is the combination of people, practices, and tools which achieve those great outcomes. And today, we're going to talk through how the Atlassian Playbook helps surface all of these interactions together. How can we help people, practices, and tools come together to achieve great outcomes and unleash the potential of every team? It starts, when we talk about the Atlassian Playbook, it starts very much with how is our team operating? How are we performing? We always want to focus on working our energy towards the things that will have the most impact, the most effect. And the first part of the Atlassian Team Playbook that we should be aware of is the health monitor. And the health monitor gives you that way to capture some data, to have some discussions with your teams to identify the areas that by focusing on them, you can get the most improvement, the most benefit. Now, the Atlassian Health Monitor, the Atlassian Team Playbook, the Health Monitor element, covers around 8 attributes, or covers 8 attributes. And these attributes, we look at teams holistically, and we look at team attributes holistically. And what we have here is the 8 attributes that the Health Monitor looks to drive discussion from team members on how they think they are performing and give broad coverage to all the areas so that teams can know they have had a good holistic view of all the attributes that are going to help make them be a high-performing team. We have the concept of a full-time owner, that dedication of focus of effort. We all know what it must be like with people stretched between many roles, many teams. We need to bring that core structure together with a full-time owner. We need balance in our team. We need the right sets of skills, the right sets of characteristics of individuals so that we can achieve the goals and objectives that are being set for us. Synchronized thinking. We all have a common understanding of our objectives, what the results look like, how our terminology works. So often in projects or teams that I've been a part of, that terminology question is really important for a team being the best that it can be. Measurement, team performance, organizational performance, outcomes. We need to know what value is. We need to know what's valuable for our customers. We need to know how we measure that value. Proof of concept and iteration and moving forward with just enough, getting feedback loops working and getting the sense of, are we heading in the right direction? Do we need to pivot or persevere? One-pager. Crisp communication. How can we be very transparent in our work? We talk very much about open work. How can we enable our stakeholders, our customers to quickly see information? How do we manage the message about the value we're producing? The one-pager is a great one, and one of my personal favorites we use here at Atlassian. I very much spend a lot of my time looking at our team project posters, and our project posters talking about what we're going to achieve. Dependencies, we try as much as possible to keep our teams encapsulated, and we want to be able to deliver value by the team that we have. But in organizations, particularly as we scale, we know that dependencies are a key part of delivering value. And have we identified where those dependencies are? How do we interact with them? What are our APIs even to our various dependencies, and how can we optimize and perform really well across our interactions there? Velocity, what's our cadence, our speed, how are we producing value, how are we operating as a team, how is our value, our outcomes being affected over a period of time, and we want to keep that that cycle down so that we can have our feedback loops we mentioned earlier. These are the 8 attributes that the health monitor can help you step through. And that health monitor can produce for you a set of outputs. I think maybe if we just give everyone a very quick view of what the health monitor looks like. And a chance to pause, checking if the audience has any questions while I just switch screens over to have a quick look at the health monitor. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the home of the Atlassian Team Playbook. And we've spoken about the place to get started is our health monitor, and we're going to have a quick look at that health monitor and have a step through and see how, by focusing on the most important areas that will help us unleash our potential as a team, how that can lead then into individual plays that we can use as targeted activities to trigger where we focus our attention. And then also, we have these concepts of game plans, which are very much a collection of plays and can help you in a more theme-based approach to the application of plays. That gives the orientation. Let's take a quick look at our health monitor. And I thought we'd just, at quite a quick pace, just quickly do a canter through a health monitor. We can see a physical health monitor here, which we're going to step through. We can see some color codings. We're going to step through the digital one, which is in our COVID times. Very much as we enjoy being this close, I don't know if this image would be passing the social distancing measures. But let's come along down here on the health monitor page of the Atlassian Team Playbook. Now, I'll go at quite a canter. Let's imagine we're a team. Let's start a health monitor. So we start our health monitor, and it's asking, what our team will be doing. And that's an important concept because there are different types of teams. And in the playbook, Atlassian Team Playbook here, we have 2 or 3 types of teams initially. We talk about project teams, leadership teams, and service teams. In this particular case, I'm going to select that we're a project team. So we're doing a project team, and by making this selection, the main thing that it is doing is having a context to the questions that we ask, and the context of how we ask them. And we can call this team the superheroes, maybe. is our team. And we're going to go with a quite, really simplistic about we're strong, we're okay but a bit shaky, or we're struggling. A nice, simplistic, relatively fast way to do scoring. What really matters is doing the discussion between the team members. So we come together and we've got this really great concept. We want to have that discussion. We want to move through and get those first reactions. With those first reactions, that really helps the discussion come out for later as we talk about our prioritization. Really great system there that gives us a quick countdown to our vote. We come and have a vote and we say, actually, we do have a strong full-time project owner. So we're strong on that one. Is our team balanced? And as we step through each area, you get a little bit of a sort of more context as we go. We might say we've got some capabilities and strengths, but we might sort of balance a little bit. A really key point about sort of, as we go through different stages, let's say our team needs to just balance a bit as we change the stages that we're going through. Do we have a shared understanding? Do we understand our goals, objectives, where we're trying to get to, what we're trying to achieve, and do we really trust each other? Yes, we do. We think we're a strong team that knows what we can read each other's mind. We have ESP. Have we got measures? Well, we think we do, but when we go and have a look at it, do we really know what the numbers are that we're targeting? Some may be a little bit shaky, and we'll step through. How have we got our concept demonstration? Well, we've got some sketches. Have we got some prototype code? Have we got some maybe apps on our phone that we're trying to demo? Yes, we've got an app on our phone maybe that we've mocked up. So we think we're doing some proof of concepting, which is good. Have we got our one-pager? Do you know what? Have we actually reflected our work on a one-pager and put it out there? No, we haven't really done that. And it sort of keeps getting put to the back of the list that says we'll do some more communications wider. It keeps getting deprioritized. So let's say we're struggling a little bit on that one. Those all-important dependencies. How are we managing our dependencies? Well, we talk a lot with our teams. We're sort of quite close to our most dependent teams, so we think we're okay on that one. How fast are we going? Well, we want to make incremental progress. We want those feedback loops going. So we think we're doing okay. We've got some fairly fast iterations. We think we're doing well on that one. So now we're having time to discuss as a group. And ask each group member about why they voted, what they voted on the basis of. And then ultimately that produces us one of these team summaries. And you can see here, we've got our color coding for each one of the summaries. And then really powerfully, we've got a link to our next steps. And that's going to start to lead into where is our plays, the actual playbook plays that we can use, the tools that can help us, the triggers that can help us. We maybe can select this one. We might prioritize in our outputs. We're really focusing on the one pager. We can share our summary. Importantly, we can select this next step. And this is a really key part of the playbook, which is firstly, you get these selected plays. And we'll open one of these and go and have a look at one of these in a moment. And these are linking to the actual playbook plays that help us act. But really importantly, we can capture action items for people. For example, Chris to own the project poster. And we're going to put it in the next sprint. And we can capture action items that are going to help us turn our, shakier areas to really great areas. That's very much the health monitor. Before I jump into a play and the playbook itself, let's just make sure we're talking the health monitor helps us focus, helps us know where we're going. Now we've got some recommendations on the sorts of plays that might help us move the dial and help us become more of a high-performing team. One of the favorites, which I mentioned that I really liked at the top of the call, was the concept of a project poster. Here we are now. We've moved from the health monitor and we're into an actual play, and we're into the project poster play. Really handily, you can have a video introduction talking you through it. introduction to how the play is structured and what it's trying to achieve. Some really handy information about preparation, approach, difficulty levels, and then actually how do you run the play. Tips and tricks on how you can run the play. We can see over here in terms of materials, links to where you can get the templates for running the play. As an example, this is one of my favorite plays because it really helps communication, and communication can really help teams. And I thought I'd just flash up an example of a project poster that our team used for the connection of Jira, Align, and Trello. And it's a simple Confluence page, but you can see that it's very clear. It describes why we are doing something and how do we judge success and solution outcomes. We talk about validation. It's just a really great place to talk about what the product is, what the attributes are, why we're doing it, and what the value is. And that's an example of how we can use a playbook activity, how we can identify why it's important, how we can drill down and take actions to constantly improve ourselves as a team. I think coming back to our health monitor, I just wanted to share as we come towards the last 5 minutes, I just wanted to share with you also a really good example that I quite like of one of our teams who runs their health monitor just like this on a fairly regular cadence, and they use this great system of checking on each of the attributes. So here we have our full-time project owner attribute in the health monitor, but you can see this team looks May through June, and they see how they're performing as they go over time, and are their actions having a good impact as they go. So just a couple of ideas for you there. I think as we come back to the playbook itself, just to let everybody know, you can find it here at Atlassian.com/team playbook. Use that health monitor to help find the areas where you can most unleash the potential of your team, applying effort, focus your effort, prioritize your effort, find the plays that are going to most help, assign the actions, keep the focus, use the tools and templates and things that are there to support you and your team. And the more and further that you go, take on these collections, look at holistically all the different plays that might be relevant to you. And I really hope that you, like I, get some benefit from the Atlassian Team Playbook, which is available for you here at Atlassian.com Team Playbook. So we have just a few minutes left. I wanted to make sure we gave some time for questions. Just opening up the room to check, are there any questions out there?
What are the typical obstacles or pitfalls to transforming a team?
Okay, great. And talking very much from my experience, it's a good question. There's a couple to choose from. I think on the obstacles front, I think the potential of every team often is dependent on the organization around that team as well. And one of the obstacles can often be a team that is trying to achieve work, but maybe the balance in the team, there is heavy dependencies with teams that are maybe working in different ways, and you really have to focus on those interfaces to make sure that a team can be its best team. And so the obstacle is what happens when you have a clash of cultures is what I'm sort of alluding to here. And I think many in the agile space, not every team in every organization is an agile team. Some teams are on different journeys or different stages of their journey of becoming agile. And I would say that on that obstacle, engagement and communication is certainly the first thing that I've used a lot. You have to, someone once told me, if you're not having hard conversations, you're not having the right conversations. So, maybe I'm alluding a little bit here to one of the pitfalls as well, which is that a team itself constantly needs to change and adapt. It needs to be aware of its environment, and it needs to be aware that it's going to go through different phases, and it needs to embrace those phases. I think one of the pitfalls is that teams can get comfortable. They can get too comfortable, and maybe they are not, not pushing themselves enough. I think maybe one other pitfall is obviously coming back to our organizational point, which is the pitfall of assuming that just because your team wants to work a certain way, you go out there guns blazing, working the way you want to work, and then you find out I sometimes call them organizational antibodies, maybe trying to either prevent you working a certain way, or maybe actively trying to stop you working a certain way. And that comes back to my earlier point, which is get that communication going. You talk about a balanced team, and you need to have in that balanced team, as much as you might need a front-end developer, a database engineer, for example, we talk about it in that level of capability. But what about the sort of types of individual? Who's the great communicator? Who's the great strategy? Think of a balanced team in personal characteristics too. You need the strategist, you need the communicator, you need the hard driver, you need the person that keeps the emotions together. Think of balanced teams in that way as well to try and navigate some of those obstacles and pitfalls.